and welcome to another episode of Ask Erin Pavlina. Today's question comes from Mirka. She asks, are people who are more spiritual less interested in the physical world? For example, I noticed the more I know and try to focus on my spiritual development, the less interest I have in the physical world, for example, sex or exercise. Just wondering. Okay, this is a common situation. Yes, that does sometimes happen. Sometimes people get so involved in the spiritual side of life that they lose interest in the more grounded physical things like exercise or sex or anything that's very physical. So the situation is, though, that what we're striving for is balance. If all you're doing is living in airy fairyland all day long and all you want to do is meditate for hours or go outside and sit next to a tree, which are all very good things, but if you're doing that to the exclusion of the real world or earning an income or being physical and grounded and maybe exercising, then you're going to be out of balance. Similarly, there are people that you probably know who are more physically grounded and don't consider or think about the spiritual side of life at all. Sometimes these people can be very stressed. Sometimes these people feel out of balance or out of touch with their own self or their own spirituality. So they're kind of out of balance too. The ideal situation is to be completely in balance. And what we're talking about here is you have seven main chakras that run through your body, and they each relate to something in your life. And the bottom chakras are often very physical. They're very related to the physical world. And your top chakras tend to be very spiritual. So sometimes when I'm doing a reading for somebody, I can see that the bulk of their energy is kind of up in here, which is the more, the crown and the brow chakra and the heart chakra and the throat chakra. They can be very, very spiritual, excellent communicators, but sometimes they're so focused on the spiritual that they're not in a situation where maybe they're having a good income or they're not strong and passionate and connected to their real world. Similarly, I read for people who are extremely successful, very stable emotionally, and have very strong self-esteem and confidence, and they do very well for themselves, from a physical, material perspective, but they're not connected with their spiritual side. They've never really thought about being spiritual. Perhaps they don't communicate from the depth of their being. Their heart chakra is not open. They don't feel very compassionate towards others, and they think mainly of themselves. So I would say strive for balance. If you find that your energy is being focused on one section or another, think about ways that you might balance yourself, which will help you in all kinds of different ways to be a more grounded, yet open to spirituality type of person.